Normally when I go on stages, I say, what up, Snapchat fan? Anyways, guys, I first want to say it is an honor to be here in this room. It's an honor to be at this event. This badge that I have around my neck. It's an honor to wear it with pride because my path to get here was not necessarily linear. To share a little bit about my background with you guys, I got into the social media industry in 2008 after losing my job in the banking industry due to the recession. So I didn't go to school to study marketing. I used to be a banker. I wanted to be a banker and grow my career in banking. Lost my job, and I was forced to really use social media to rebrand myself. And in that, I started up a company in Jacksonville, Florida, Jobs Direct USA, and forced myself to study social media to then grow my business. What that led me to was a career in marketing. I was hired by Winn-Dixie, for those of you that are familiar with this, a supermarket chain. I see some heads nodding in the Southeast. I actually was hired to start social media for Winn-Dixie. So after working for Winn-Dixie for about a year and a half, I started going to different conferences. And I'd never spoken on stage, I'd never spoken at an event in my industry. I said, you know, I see these people on stage and they're getting all these followers on Twitter and they're really famous, they're really well known, I can do that. So initially my intent for public speaking was very self-serving. It wasn't about the audience, it was about me. And I approached Phil back in 2013, already having worked several years as an entrepreneur and business owner, having served clients, having worked for a brand, and we had this conversation, and the answer was pretty much no. It was just a hard, fast no, come back next year. So what did I do? I went back next year, and I approached Phil once again, and his answer was no. And the reality was that it was a great experience for me because it really humbled me. I thought that I was ready. I thought that, you know what, I'm gonna just slay it. I'm gonna get into public speaking, this is gonna be easy. And I discovered that to get on this stage, this is the Super Bowl of our industry. This is the mecca of our industry. And what I did by being rejected was I humbled myself and I thought, how am I gonna get in front of these folks and offer value to them, which that's the name of the game, that's marketing, that's social media 101. You're adding value to your constituents out there, which are the people that follow you. So I started getting more involved in my community in Jackson. I started speaking at smaller scale events. I started volunteering. I started speaking to 5 people at an ITT technical college at 6 o'clock at night about how to use social media in their business. So not only did I start speaking at smaller events, eventually started speaking at a little bit larger events to 100 people, smaller American Marketing Association meetup, events like that. So by the time I came back again in 2015 and approached Phil, at that point there was a story to be told. I was able to talk to Phil about the progression. I was able to talk to Phil about really why I wanted to be a part of this event. It was to add value. It wasn't about me. So oftentimes I will hear from aspiring speakers that will come to me and they'll say, hey, I want to speak in social media marketing world. How do you do it? And I tell them one answer, and that's time. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the work. And I'll ask them straight up, what is it that you want to do by speaking in social media marketing world? What's your objective for speaking? And oftentimes I hear it's for money. I oftentimes hear it's for popularity and fame. And I will then turn to that person and say, then you're in the wrong business. Because if you're looking to do this for popularity and fame, once again, you're not serving the needs of this organization, any organization that you want to speak to, quite frankly, or the audience that you're speaking to. So besides that, I will also ask someone, what are you proficient in teaching others? Let's think about it. If you're going to be on a stage speaking to whether it's 5 people or 500 or 5,000, what can they walk away with? So I often will coach up aspiring speakers and let them know there's 3 things that you absolutely need to nail when you reach out to these individuals. And first of all, have a pitch that's unique from other speakers. There's a lot of folks that want to talk about Instagram or live video or Snapchat. And trust me, these are all valuable topics that they need the content for, but what are you going to teach that's unique that isn't currently being taught? If you really want to go ahead and stand out, have a unique value proposition. 2, how's the audience going to benefit and how's the event going to benefit from your content? And 3, which is the most important, what makes you an expert or what makes you proficient in teaching that? If you can, from my perspective, let me hear your thoughts, if you can nail those 3 like that and be able to bring the experience to the table, there's no doubt in my mind that you'll start getting some guesses and you won't get turned down.
Number 4, which is unwritten, is to have a servant's heart. One thing that you'll notice is there was a bunch of speakers in that networking process sitting around the table. They didn't care that there was 5. They didn't care that there was 7. What they cared about is they wanted to help people. We look for that all the time. This guy has that. Would you give him a round of applause?